Welcome back to the deep dive. Um, Today we are opening up a topic that I think a lot of people are, well, terrified to even look at. It's a massive barrier.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
It's that invisible wall that just stops you before you even take your first step. You might be sitting there right now thinking, I cannot learn English without a teacher.
Exactly. It's that nagging belief, right? That voice in the back of your head that whispers, you cannot do this alone.
Yeah. It tells you that unless you have a professional guiding you, or unless you have a textbook and a heavy desk to sit at,
Mm-hmm.
you're just wasting your time. So it feels safer to just,
Wait.
right, just wait.
That is the key word right there, waiting. It's that nervous feeling of looking around and thinking, I don't have a speaking partner, so I can't practice today. Or I'm waiting for my schedule to clear up so I can join a real class.
You're waiting for the perfect environment to just magically appear.
Exactly. But here is the twist. The source text we are diving into today, it's called The Path to Independent English Fluency, and it completely flips the script on this idea.
It takes a total sledgehammer to it.
It does. The core message is radical because it is so simple. The source explicitly states that it is entirely possible to learn independently. You do not need a classroom.
Thousands of people have done it.
Right. And they didn't have magic powers. They just had a different mindset and the right method.
And that brings us to our mission for this deep dive.
Uh,
Because we're not just going to sit here and analyze this text like college professors.
no, definitely not.
We are going to actually use it. For the next 10 minutes or so, we are going to act as your personal practice partners.
I love this approach. We're going to look at the method from the text, sure, but we're also going to do the work with you. The source material emphasizes that taking action is infinitely more important than just knowing the theory.
So let's unpack this. The text starts with a really honest admission from the narrator. And I appreciate this because, usually language guides try to make it sound super easy.
Right, they promise fluency in 30 days or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this narrator talks about the very beginning of their journey. And it's not pretty. They admit, in the beginning, I did not understand much. I felt confused. I felt slow.
That is such a powerful thing to admit.
It hit me hard. I think we have all felt that slowness when trying to learn a new language. You feel like a child again.
It is incredibly validating to hear. What is fascinating is that the source identifies feeling slow or feeling confused, not as a sign of failure, but as a completely natural, necessary part of the process.
Like growing pains.
Yes! Think about how the brain learns. Your brain is physically rewiring itself. So confusion is actually a sign that you are engaging with new patterns.
That is a brilliant way to reframe it. Confusion isn't a stop sign.
Exactly. But the human instinct is to panic. The instinct is to say, oh, I feel stupid, so I need a teacher to fix this confusion. I need someone to give me the answer key.
But the source argues that you don't need a classroom to get past that uncomfortable feeling. You just need to sit with it.
Precisely. This is where the text shifts the power dynamics. If you rely completely on a teacher, you are basically outsourcing your progress.
You're saying you are responsible for my learning.
Right. But the text says you don't need a perfect environment. You only need the right method. It shifts the responsibility and the power back to you, the learner. It turns anxiety into agency.
Turns anxiety into agency. I really like that. Okay, so we know we don't need the classroom, but we do need a plan, right? We can't just stare at a wall hoping to learn English.
No, definitely not.
The text outlines a specific method to handle the confusion. It's a three-step process.
Yes, and it's very structured. The first step the source outlines is called deep listening. But there is a very important nuance here. The narrator says, at first I understood only a few words, but slowly my brain started learning.
That is the key right there.
Yeah.
The expectation isn't that you listen and understand 100% immediately.
Correct. And that is exactly where most people quit. They turn on an English podcast or a YouTube video, they understand maybe 10%, and they get frustrated and turn it off.
They think it's not working.
Right. But the source emphasizes listening to podcasts, videos, and simple conversations just for exposure. The goal is not perfect comprehension. Your brain just needs to hear the rhythm, the music of the language, and the sounds before it can make sense of the actual definitions.
I like to think of it like being in a foggy room. At first, you walk in and you can't see anything, it's just gray fog. But if you stay in the room, your eyes adjust, the fog slowly starts to lift. You don't just leave the room because it's foggy.
That is a perfect analogy. You just let the English wash over you. You trust that your brain is doing the heavy lifting in the background.
Okay, so step one is input, just letting the language in. What is step two?
Step 2 is repetition. The source calls it the listen and repeat technique. Now, this isn't just about memory. It is about physical mechanics. You listen and you repeat again and again.
The text mentions that this improves pronunciation and confidence. So it's almost like going to the gym.
It is exactly like the gym. You are training muscles. Your tongue, your lips, your jaw, they are physical muscles. If they aren't used to making English sounds, they will feel clumsy.
We need a workout.
Exactly. Repetition builds muscle memory for your mouth.
And that leads us to the third step, which I think is the most surprising tip in the entire text. It's the one that makes people feel the most self-conscious.
Oh, absolutely. But it is also the most effective.
The text says, speaking in front of a mirror.
It sounds a bit strange at first, doesn't it? Just standing in your bathroom talking to yourself.
Sounds a little crazy.
But think about why this works. The source says, I spoke in front of a mirror. I spoke simple sentences. When you speak to a mirror, you remove the biggest barrier to fluency, which is fear.
Fear of judgment.
Exactly. You aren't talking to a scary boss or a teacher with a red pen waiting to correct you or a confused stranger on the street. You are just talking to yourself. It creates a completely safe space.
And you get that visual feedback, too. You can see your own mouth moving.
Right. It connects the physical feeling of speaking with the visual image of yourself speaking English. The source provides specific examples of what to say to that mirror. Things like, I am learning English. I am improving. I can do this.
So it's positive self-talk combined with language practice.
Yes. You're programming your mindset while you program your tongue.
And there's one final rule the source gives before we start our practice today. It's about your schedule.
The golden rule. The text says, not one day, not 2 days, every day.
Consistency beats intensity.
Always. It is much better to do 5 minutes every single day than to study for 3 hours once a week. The source is very clear. Every day.
All right. We've talked about the theory. We've analyzed the method. But as we promised at the start, we're not just here to lecture you. We're going to act as your practice partners.
This is the interactive part of our deep dive. We are going to use the mirror method right now.
Now, you don't need a physical mirror in front of you right this second, though if you have one, grab it. But if not, just visualize it. Visualize yourself looking into your own eyes.
We are going to use the exact affirmations provided in the source material. I will read a short sentence, and then we will leave a brief pause. In that silence, I want you to say the sentence out loud.
Do not just think it in your head. If you just think it, you aren't training those mouth muscles.
Yeah.
You have to speak it. Make your voice strong. Let's build that confidence together. Are you ready?
Let's begin. Listen and repeat after me. I can learn English by myself.
Go ahead, say it out loud.
I practice English every day.
Good. Keep that clear rhythm.
I listen carefully.
Focus on the sounds as you say them,
I am improving step by step.
step by step. That is the key.
I am confident.
Believe it when you say it.
I am not afraid of mistakes.
That is a big one. Say it strong.
Mistakes help me learn.
They really do. They are just information.
I believe in myself.
Yes. Feel that energy.
I speak English every day.
Almost there. Keep going.
I am becoming fluent.
Wow. Even just hearing those phrases, you can feel the shift in mindset.
Absolutely. What really stands out to me is the progression of those sentences. Did you notice the arc?
How it builds up.
Yes. It starts with capability, I can. Then it moves to action, I practice. And it ends with identity, I am becoming fluent. It is a psychological journey just as much as a linguistic one.
And the source mentions that these specific phrases build confidence. It is really hard to feel nervous when you are telling yourself out loud that you are becoming fluent. You are literally rewriting your own internal script.
But this does raise an important question. Affirmations are great. Talking to a mirror is a fantastic start, but you cannot live in your bathroom forever.
That's true.
Eventually, you have to talk to other human beings.
Right. Eventually, the rubber meets the road. You have to order a coffee or speak up in an office meeting or just talk to a neighbor on the phone.
The source text actually provides a dialogue script to help bridge that exact gap. It anticipates this need perfectly.
Yeah, the text has a specific section on explaining how you learned English. It serves as a perfect script for telling your journey to someone else.
We are going to role play this scenario for you. It's a real-life conversation practice. The source specifically requests a slow, natural tone. So we are not going to rush through this.
I will be the person asking the questions. Imagine I am a colleague you just met at the office, or maybe someone at a party. You take the role of the learner just to demonstrate how it sounds first.
Perfect. I am ready.
So how did you learn English?
I learned English by myself.
Did you have a teacher?
No, I practiced every day.
Was it difficult?
Yes, but I did not stop.
Now you can speak English.
See how that works? Simple, direct, and factual. No apologizing. No saying, oh, my English is bad. Just the facts.
I love that confidence.
Huh.
Now, we want you, the listener, to take the role of the learner.
This is your term.
You are the expert on your own life now. We will ask the questions. You give the answers based on the source text we just practiced. I will prompt you on what to say.
I will ask the question this time. I want you to answer out loud. Fill the silence with your voice. Here we go. How did you learn English?
Say, I learned English by myself.
Did you have a teacher?
Say, no, I practiced every day.
Was it difficult?
Say, yes, but I did not stop.
Now I can speak English.
That was excellent. You just completed a full conversation in English.
And if we analyze what just happened there, that specific dialogue is highly strategic. It isn't just random vocabulary.
It's a tool.
Exactly. It is a script that prepares you for one of the most common questions you will ever get asked as a non-native speaker. People are going to ask, how is your English so good?
That is so true. And usually people just freeze when they get asked that. But having that script ready reduces the anxiety we talked about earlier. You don't have to search for the words because you already have the building blocks in place.
It gives you a solid foundation. And once you have that foundation, then you can start to improvise. But you need that solid ground first.
I want to circle back to one specific line from our practice session earlier. It really stuck with me. The line was, mistakes help me learn.
That is such a crucial reframing of the learning process.
Because we usually think mistakes are embarrassing. We think if we make a grammar error, everyone is secretly laughing at us.
The source material is very clear on this. It reframes failure as a tool. Think about a traditional classroom. In a classroom, a mistake might mean a bad grade. It means red ink all over your paper.
Which feels terrible.
Right. But in independent learning, a mistake is just feedback. It is neutral data. It just tells you what you need to listen to again tomorrow.
It takes all the pressure off. If you make a mistake, you haven't failed. You have just found a specific spot to improve.
And it connects right back to the source's focus on mindset. I believe myself. The narrator of this text started with absolutely no speaking partner, no fancy app, no expensive teacher, just determination.
That is the big why behind all of this. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the source is proving that the barrier to entry is so much lower than you think. The narrator succeeded not because they were some kind of language genius.
No, not at all. They succeeded because of one simple reason.
Yes, but I did not stop. I think that might be the most powerful sentence in the whole text.
I completely agree. It highlights that the only way to truly fail is to quit. If you keep going, even if it feels slow, even if it's confusing, you are winning.
So let's bring this all together. What does this mean for you, the listener, right now? We've looked at the source, we've practiced the sentences out loud, and we've done the role play.
To summarize, we have three main pillars from the source material. First, listening. Deep listening to natural English.
And remember, confusion is okay. Let the fog wash over you.
Right, accept the confusion. Second, repetition. Using your mouth, training your physical muscles. Language is a physical sport.
And the third pillar.
Daily practice. Consistency is king.
And the mirror method. Do not forget the mirror.
Never forget the mirror.
No.
It is your safe space to fail and to grow. It is the best teacher you'll ever have because it is always available to you.
The source proves you don't need a teacher to start. You just need to start.
Yeah.
So here is our challenge to you.
A very practical challenge for today.
When this deep dive ends, find a mirror. It can be the mirror in your bathroom, in your hallway, or even just the selfie camera on your phone.
Look at yourself. Make actual eye contact. And say the simple sentences we practiced today. I am learning English. I am improving.
Do it today, and then do it again tomorrow. It only takes 30 seconds of your time.
The source leaves us with this final, incredibly empowering message. You are capable. You are improving. You can do this.
Simple words, but if you really believe them, they change everything. Here is one final thought for you to explore on your own. What if the very act of learning English by yourself is exactly what gives you the confidence to speak it fearlessly in the real world? The struggle itself becomes your strength.
They really do. You have the tools. You have the method. Now you just need the action.
Absolutely. Thank you for practicing with us today. Keep speaking, keep making those mistakes, and whatever you do, do not stop. We will see